nothing.
Hey, Black. What's happening, Captain? Hello, Black. Hi, Tracy. I see you, babe. I see you, the first one in the room. I spoke. How you guys doing? I hope you had a good Monday. Making chicken Alfredo tonight. That sounds so good. But I am so burned out on chicken. I am chickened out. I'm tired of chicken. Hi, Urban. How are you, my love? Thank you for the donation last week. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm doing great, Tracy. I'm doing wonderful. Wonderful for a Monday. My kids didn't come today. They stayed home, but I did have one that I used to watch since he was a month old, and he came and he's hanging out with Unc. Thank you so much, Urban. Yeah, Unc is babysitting because I don't babysit other folk kid unless I'm getting paid for it. I ain't gonna lie. Hello, Marzella. How are you, beautiful? How you doing this afternoon? Evening, afternoon, night. You're on a real estate project. Okay. I get it. Make your money, boo boo. Hi, Let's Go Slots. Hello, Real Life Chronicles. How are you? Let's Go Slots said, greetings, Auntie Kinfolk. Just got through eating 8 chicken wings. Child, what is it with the chicken? We are some chicken peoples. Hi, Crystal. How are you? Hope all are doing well. I know I am. I am having a wonderful day today. Got quite a bit done. Yo, I hit a biblical number yesterday for my sub count, and it's stuck there, hasn't moved. Oh, wow. Is that a good thing? A biblical number? Well, if it's biblical, it must be good. Hey, Lawanda. Hey, Lady of Elegance. Oh, wow. You're at 3333. Wow. Well, it's better than 6666, I guess. Let me turn on this camera. Let me turn on this camera. Put out this cigarette. I don't want to smoke on camera. And CO, what's up? Who got killed? Oh no. Oh, you know what? I just forgot what I put in there. Okay, and CO. I'm gonna cover this a little later. You know what? I thought you were taking a jab at like what paperwork does. um, Another content creator is gone, which I'm gonna go over that in a little bit. Just as soon as we get more people to come in, but it's not good. It's not good at all, Ancio. It's not good at all. Hi, one joyful ladybug. How are you, sweetheart? Oh my goodness. I hate reporting bad news, but man, it's awful. It's awful. That got by you? Yeah. Very, very sad. Yes. These YouTube streets have gotten out of hand. But this isn't even YouTube related. She just happens to be a YouTube content creator. Hello, Barbara. How are you, sweetheart? Yeah, devastating news. devastating news. And I have the clip for y'all to see. But man, it just puts things into perspective. One day you might be here, the next day you might not. Who's to say? You know, boom. And I hate to say that word boom right now. Not good. Not good at all. These kids, I tell you. And it was his mama? Yes. And daddy. And Seal. Both parents. Both parents. I'm telling you the truth. These kids. Hello, Heather Griffin. You're the first I heard of this. Yeah, it happened last night, just after midnight in Florida. Matter of fact, I think it'll probably be the first thing I talk about, because I really don't. That happened where you're at, Let's Go Slots? Oh my goodness. Hi, Fonda. How are you, lovely? It's devastating. I swear. These kids don't know how much they're blessed, and sometimes they just, that level of disrespect. I'm not going to say that the boy is completely, there might be something going on with him. Who knows, but the news is so brand new. And I mainly wanted to put it out here to solicit prayers and, just pray for the family. And, if there's any future talks of a GoFundMe or anything like that, I'll let you guys know unless you hear it elsewhere. Hi, Rose. How are you, sweetheart? Yeah, these kids, man. Yes, in Florida. They lived in the, let's see, Middleton. They lived in Middleton. I'm not sure where that is in Florida. So I tell you the truth, we got so much to be thankful for. And these kids have so much to be thankful for, and they don't realize it. They want to argue and fight with their parents, and, parents is doing what they got to do to take care of them. Hello, LaWanda. Middleton, Middleton. Middleton, Middle, Middleburg home. That was in their Middleburg home. I spelled it wrong. But I'll play the news release. Past Jacksonville. Okay. Hi, Diane. How are you, beautiful? It's horrible. Let's Go Slot said 14 years old and called and told police what he did and met them at the church. Is that yes, ma'am. That's the one. Walked all the way down about a mile to the church and called the police. I don't know, Tracy. I don't know if it was the father's child or not. I don't know. I didn't see any details in that fashion. Oh, thank you, Diane. Who knows? They just said that there was an argument with the parents. But I'll play the clip in just a few minutes. I'm just trying to get more people to come in so I don't have to backpedal and explain it again, because once I start talking about it, I don't want to have to rehash it for those that are late. So I'm just going to give them time to come in, and get situated and, just kind of chew the fat for a minute until more people show up. But it's awful. It's awful. There's so much going on. One of the kids that I watch or used to watch, he's here. And Uncle Barry is watching him right now. He's 3 now. And his mother, she moved way out north from here. And now she's got to look for another place to live because the apartment complex she moved into, 4 doors down from her apartment, they discovered one of her neighbors had been unalived by her boyfriend, dang near decapitated, cut her hands off. They don't even know where her hands are. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with these people. Well, I know what's wrong with these people. They full of the devil. But my goodness, stuff is going on all over the place. Hi, Mr. Phillips. How are you? Okay, yes, let's go slots. That's why I asked if it was his son. I don't know. I really don't know. But stuff is just going on everywhere. And you never know from one day to the next if it's going to be in your backyard, you know. Unbelievable. 14 years old. This boy, he was about to go into high school in a week. Had just graduated from junior high. Devastating. Devastating. But I mean, I guess I could thank God that he didn't do that to himself. You know, I mean, to do something like that, you don't know where the headspace is. So, these kids, they have a lot to deal with nowadays. It's so hot in Texas. I believe it, Mr. Phillips. My girlfriend lives in Phillips, in Texas. She lives in Dallas. Oh, thank you, Urban. Thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. Anybody that receives a membership gift from Urban Media, please, 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 please thank her. Thank you so much, Urban. That is very sweet of you. So yeah, I'm gonna give a few more people a chance to come in, and then I'll get started. Don't come outside here in Dallas. You will fry. That's where my family's at. My baby sister-in-law lives in Dallas. Well, she lives in Denton, down in the Dallas area. My girlfriend lives in Arlington. So whenever I go to Texas, that's where I go. Dallas, Denton, Arlington. I love it down there. Me and my husband been talking about uh, when we retire, we might move down there. Wait a minute. Black says, my son disappeared the other night. Made me think the worst, all to find out he snuck out to go back with his mother when all he had to do was tell me. What, Black? You gotta be kidding me. Hi, Sreen. My chat is green. Yes, it is. Thank you, my love. Oh, my goodness. You did, Black? Are you okay? Oh, my goodness. Hi, Juanita Pearson. Hello, sweetie. I'm seeing new faces every day. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Just Risa. How are you, love? How are you, love? Hi, Cora Banks. Yes, I saw that, Just Risa. Congratulations. We gonna take care of this. We gotta move in silence. We gotta move in silence. We can't tell every move we make. No, I didn't hear about a child left in a hot car, Mr. Phillips. Where did this happen? Wow, that's terrible. Just Risa says, livid but great. The PD said to keep doing what I am. Exactly. Exactly. No, Lawanda. No. Oh my goodness. That's awful. That is awful. Hi, Camille. That is awful. You know, that happened in my family once, long, long time ago. I wasn't with well, we had just met, and his older sister lost her daughter. She went in the store to get some groceries or something, and the baby girl was asleep. She was about 2 or 3, and it was just too hot. Oh no, under DSH care. Oh my God. You know, when stuff like that happens, you know, we're quick to, jump on the parent. And I understand. I understand, but imagine what that mother is thinking. Wow. And to force YouTube and Google to take responsibility, or it will be class action. Everything I say, I mean. All she is doing is giving us a digital record for court, which I knew that's why. Do it my way. Yeah. Hello, Elizabeth. How are you, sweetheart? Yes, I know Google does own YouTube. Yeah. Right downtown Seattle. Hi, Cherie Harris. Boy, I tell you the truth. It always seems to be more bad news than good, but there's got to be some good news out there for us. You know, thank you, Black. Thank you. Oh, the world is going cuckoo. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And we don't even get to throw it up in the air and say it's magically delicious, because it's not. It tastes bad. It's just bad. Every time we turn around, it's just bad news. My goodness. Well, I think I've 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 let about 22 people. I mean, 22 minutes past. She got Mama Bear on her ass now. She went after my kids. I don't blame you, Just Risa. I don't blame you one bit. Don't mess with the kids. You can talk about my mama. You can talk about my daddy. You can talk about anybody else, but don't fool with my kids. It's on and popping. I don't blame you, sweetheart. Wow. Well, just like I had said, 14-year-old boy in Florida ended the lives of his parents after an argument at their Middleburg home. I need to change that. I keep saying Middleton. Middleburg. And the thing about this is, she was a content creator. The mother was a content creator on YouTube. Just Risa says, my PD, CPS, and school on alert, so go ahead and call them like they have the others. Yeah. Yeah, just move in silence, Just Risa. Don't tell too much. Don't tell too much. Here too. Here too, Mr. Phillips. Well, I'm glad you did, Just Risa. Stick around. We got plenty to say. I'm sorry what happened. Are you sorry what happened, or you need me to tell you what happened? I hear you, Just Risa. I hear you. I definitely hear you. But you don't want to let the right hand know what the left hand is doing sometimes. So, Crystal, just in case if I'm reading this correctly, you said, I'm sorry, what happened? A 14-year-old boy in Florida ended the lives of his parents after a fight at home. They were in an argument. So here, let me set this up here. There's my notes. I'm still geriatric. I still write stuff down. But his name was Trevor Lee. Excuse me. His name was Trevor Lee. Hi, Ann. How are you, love? His name was Trevor Lee. He was age 14. He walked about a mile to a local church where he then reported to authorities that he unalived his parents. He shot them. He shot them both. Father's name was Mr. David Lee, 44, and the mother's name was Miss Brandy Smith, 45. From what I understand, Brandy Smith is a YouTube content creator that went by the name of 901 Dawn Diva. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. And I'm up here asking for prayers for the family, because this is devastating. Devastating. Barbara said, just like my little cousin, her funeral is Thursday. My cousin, her grandma, is having it live stream because I can't go and I really don't want to do another film. I don't blame you, Barbara. It seems like every funeral makes me feel a little bit more and more heavier. My heart just gets heavier each time. And I'm getting to the point where I just don't like going at all. But in the same token, you have to pay your respects too, so it's kind of a strange situation to be in. You know what I'm saying? So yes, we definitely want to give prayers up to the family. Awful. I'm going to go ahead and share this news clip with you just to give you a little bit more context of what happened. Let me put this up so I can... Okay, what in the world? Go ahead.
New details about a Clay County teen accused of killing their parents in their Middleburg home. Tonight, the 14-year-old's best friend is speaking with News 4 Jax. Family member also shared this photo of David Lee and Brandy Smith with us.
Their 14-year-old son, Trevor Lee, is now charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. Their home sits near Silver Point and County Road 220. News 4 Jax reporter Alicia Hatcher went to the neighborhood where it happened and spoke with the teen's friend.
One of Trevor's closest friends, Kyrie Beeman, met us right outside of the Lee family home. He says he's known Trevor since elementary school and he just saw him Friday. He also says he spoke with him over the phone around 12:30 this morning, and the conversation they had, he'll never forget.
He told me that he loved me, and he told me that he was just calling to tell me goodnight.
The best friend of a teen now accused of murder replays the last conversation they had before learning the shocking news. Crime scene tape lined a Middleburg neighborhood Monday morning after a chilling 911 call from a 14-year-old boy.
Our 911 communications center received a call from a young man who stated he had just killed his parents. He stated that deputies could find his parents at the house and that he had walked just over a mile away to a church.
Deputies responded and arrested 14-year-old Trevor Lee. When deputies got to the home, they found David Lee and Brandy Smith shot and killed inside.
Preliminary.
Isn't she beautiful? She was so beautiful. I can't... I'm sorry. This is awful.
Investigation, and we're still very early in this investigation. It appears that there was some sort of domestic argument last night between Trevor Lee and his parents. and that this shooting culminated from that argument.
When we arrived on scene, a family member was there but declined to speak. But one person did open up, someone who didn't just know the family, he considered them his own.
They
Oh,
were
God.
they were probably the best or one of the best families I knew. They were funny and they treated me very well. They told me all the time that they loved me like a son and they treated me as such.
Kyrie says it's still hard to believe, but he hopes people remember Trevor for more than just what happened.
He's not a bad person just because he made one bad decision. He's done so much for everyone I know, and I don't want him just to be known as a killer or a murderer, and that he was a great kid, a great son.
Coming up on News4Jax at 6, we'll share the moment Kyrie says he will always cherish that he shared with the Lee family. For now reporting, Alicia Hatcher, Channel 4, the local station.
We have new information out of Clay County. A 14-year-old boy is in custody after sheriff's deputies say he killed his parents.
News4Jax reporter Brianna Andrews joins us live from the scene on Silver Point. This is near County Road 220. And Brianna, deputies say that he walked into a church to turn himself in.
Yeah, so this whole thing started just after midnight. 911 received a call from a 14-year-old boy inside this neighborhood who said he killed his parents. Now, those parents are between the ages of 44 and 45 years old. Now, deputies believe this began with an argument between the teen and his parents. They believe the teen used his parents' gun, but are still investigating. But that gun was recovered at the home. Now, you mentioned the boy walked to a church. So that all happened before deputies arrived. He walked to that church where he waited for deputies. Deputies responded and took the boy in custody. Now, they say both parents were shot and killed. Both of their bodies were found at the house. Now, right now, the Clay County Sheriff's Office is investigating whether there is a history of mental health issues here. That right now there is a very active crime scene, and they're still working on this. So as long as we continue to stay on this, we'll continue to provide updates, and of course, we'll keep you posted. For now, I'm reporting live. Brianna Andrews, Channel 4, the local station.
That is awful. That is so awful. And again, we just don't know. We don't know what people are going through. Oh my God. Hi, highly sensitive introvert. How are you? Hi, Jay Breezy. Diana says, prayers for the ones who lost their loved ones. May God bless and keep them in his loving care. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Oh my goodness. LaWanda says, I wonder what was going on in his head. Was he trying to defend his mother, or was he just tired of the situation? We don't know what the situation was. You know, sometimes kids, they want to do their own thing. And sometimes parents try to protect their kids. And in the meantime, the kid feels like, I got this. I don't need you to protect me. I'm big enough to take care of myself, kind of thing. Did I miss Lady Letitia? Where did she go? Did I miss Lady Letitia? I don't see her in the chat. Okay, I could have swore somebody said hi to Lady Letitia. Am I seeing things? Was he mad? Was he mad they took his PS5 away from him? I don't know. Above with the memberships. Lady, I don't see you. What is missing? Why can't I see you? That's my friend. StreamYard be tripping too. Or maybe I'm just downright blind. Well, I can't see you, but hi, Lady Letitia. I can't see your name, but hello, love. Well, from all indications, he was aware of what he did. Yes. Yes, he was. And he did a very responsible thing. He could have took off, Her name is above with the memberships. Huh. I don't see that. Okay, let me see. Way up there. I bet it's way up there. See, I'm so batshit crazy sometimes. You guys got to excuse me. I get so into I don't see her. I don't see my friend. Well, she knows I love her. So if I didn't see you, charge it to my geriatric eyes and not my heart. But again, I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of this. Hi, Tropical Life. How are you, sweetie? From New Orleans. Oh, thank you, my love. Well, welcome to your first live over here. I hope I don't put you to sleep. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware. Those of you that may have followed this particular content creator, I understand that she had very good content. I personally don't know her, but she was a beautiful woman, and I just hate to see anybody lose their life like that. I mean, man, life is too short, and I'm sure that this could have been resolved some other way. So, there might be something going on with him, She's with all the people in green. I see the people in green, but I'm not seeing lady. I don't see the lady in green. Lady in green is dancing with me. Okay, I see Barbara. Cheek to cheek. Nobody here. I don't see nobody but Barbara in green. And I know Urban just gave away 10. 10. Y'all give it up to Urban. Urban gave 10 memberships away. So those of you who haven't said thank you, please do. Please do, please do. But anyway, let's see. I'm going to stop looking. See, I get real weird about stuff like this. To me, let's see. To me, walking to a church was him saying he knew he was wrong and then called and turned himself in. Correct. Jess says, hi, Auntie Mickey's house, listening in the car, driving to Seattle in traffic, having for my prayers for my cousin who passed yesterday. Love you and the chat. Yes, you guys, please pray for Jess too. She had a devastating death in the family yesterday as well. And we were talking on the phone and we were both like looking at each other like, what is going on? What is going on? Jess, do you mind if I tell them how? Just say yes or no. If you don't want me to say nothing, I won't. But it's just, you and I were looking at each other and we were like, what is going on? It's just, wow. Crazy stuff. Okay. Jess lost a cousin who drowned in a lake. And now I'm not going to go into all the details or anything like that because it's triggering for me as well, because that's how I lost my son. And then we just recently had the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, who also died drowning. And it's something about the undercurrent that's taking these people out. Thank you, Catherine. How are you this evening? So, it's just weird. It's just weird, and it's very triggering. But you guys, please pray for Jess. This is not easy for her. So just know that we're all in this together. We're all in this together. Yes, Catherine, prayers for the YouTuber who passed away. I was just talking about that. I just played the clip. It's just more than a notion. We are here today, sometimes gone today. Nobody knows why, Crystal. Nobody knows why. Diane says, I'm so sorry, Jess, and I send my most heartfelt condolences and prayers for healing, comfort, and the peace of Jesus. In Jesus' name, amen. Jess says, it's crazy to understand all this, having prayers, and now the family has to tell my auntie. I'm praying she's going to be okay when we tell her. Oh my God, thank you. That's a whole nother, that's a whole nother hill to climb, sweetheart. That is a whole, you guys have to tell his mom. And that's going to be hard for all of you guys. Very hard. You'll red ball it back. All right, Catherine. So yeah, once again, we need to pray for our fellow content creator. Jess is also a content creator. So please, let's keep each other prayed up, because nowadays people are checking out left and right. It's no joke. It is no joke at all. So if anybody wants to know her channel, the channel name was 901 Dawn Diva. Now, I don't know if I spelled it right, but it's 901 Dawn, Don, Diva, Diva. If I'm misspelling it, please let me know. 5 in the last 2.5 years. Mia's services in Michigan. Wow. Yes, the waters are troubled, tropical life. Family friend lost 2 nephews to undertow in Bahamas. One tried to save the other. Both drowned. Oh my God. That's almost similar to what happened with Jess's cousin. One of the other cousins tried to save him, and he just couldn't. It seemed like the water was pulling him away, pulling him down. Wow. You couldn't get me to get near a lake right now because of this. It took my son the same way, and this whole thing with Malcolm Jamal Warner, I don't even want to address it, because I don't want to start that whole conspiracy theory thing. You know what I'm saying? I just can't get my head wrapped around that right now. So pardon me if I don't. You know what I'm saying? I just can't. I can't. I just can't. Oh, can you guys hold on for just a moment? Let me grab this call real quick. Okay, sorry about that. I'm sorry. That was a very important phone call. So, um, moving on. Hi, Love Jones. How are you, sweetie? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, we're going to move on. Another little piece of information. It's not really information, but I just thought it would only be fair. Yes, yes. I thought it was only fair to give you my latest update on the maggot, okay? Because I've been getting a lot of inquiries. I'm not trying to be standoffish or anything like that. I want to move in silence, but I can say uh, one thing. One thing I will ask is that I would really appreciate it, each and every one of you, if you don't mind, taking down this phone number, okay? This phone number I'm about to give you is to the Laval Police Department up there in Laval, Quebec. Hi, Sloan. How are you, sweetheart? If you guys don't mind, please take down this phone number and please report to this police department what she's been doing. You guys have all seen what she's been doing with all the doxing. And we've got to band together and do something about this. One or two or three of us is not going to cut it. You know what I'm saying? I know that Lady Letitia has her detective on it, and that's great. But if we have everybody in our community to jump in and just do a quick phone call just to report this woman's activities, because she's gotten completely out of hand, way out of hand. She's threatening to put Lady Letitia's address out there. She's already dropped the city and state. She's already done that for me. She's dropped my phone number in the chat. She put my book up there on the screen. Big deal. But she's running rampant, and she seems to think that she's immune from any repercussions. And she needs to understand she's not. Now, one thing I will share is that I talked to Intellis today, and Intellis informed me that anyone in Canada or any other country beside the United States is not supposed to be even using that website. That's what they told me. That website is specifically for American use. Now, that's not to say that if she, just because she lives in Canada, maybe she would have come down over into the United States. If she would have used it in the United States, then she'd be fine. But we all know that she's sitting up there in Canada doing this. That's where it's wrong. So, with all that said, those things need to be reported to the Laval Police Department. And you could even send a email to Intel. Ain't no telling, Miss Shay, but I'm like this. If they've got community guidelines for us to follow, then they need to uphold those community guidelines as well. And I don't think YouTube is that shallow to think that they're immune. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not making no threats. I'm just saying, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you're going to hold me accountable for certain things, and that person accountable, and that person accountable, then doggone it, you need to hold her accountable too. What she's doing is outright crazy. Now, we can go back and forth. I can take some back and forth. You can talk about my mama if you want. I'll talk about your mama too. I don't care. I'll call you a rusty cow. It don't make me no difference. But I'm just saying there's a line you don't cross. And she has crossed the line. And her people that are following her are crossing the line as well. Those diehard nutcases that are still rooting her on. But what she fails to realize is, you mark my word, if she were to be taken down, those people wouldn't think twice to move on to someone else, because it's all entertainment to them. That's all it is. It's entertainment to them. So I'm going to give you their telephone number. If you need a minute to grab a pencil, a pen, or whatever, I'll give you a minute. But I'm going to give you the number to the Laval Police Department. This is in her community. Her community. And they need to understand that they got a problem up there in Canada. They need to handle it. Way out of pocket and over the line. Now she talking about calling my family. You might want to think about that one, sweetie. Because you call my family, you liable to get cussed out by all of them. So you might want to think about that one. Whoever you call, if you want to call the church, if you want to call other pastors, whoever you want to call, you really don't know. You don't know who you calling. She says, "Oh, Auntie Mickey, you have a big family. Don't fuck with me." Oh, that's what I should be saying to you. You shallow one. So please, I'm asking all of you, if you're a subscriber to Lady Letitia, if you're a subscriber to me, or if you're friends with the young man that got doxxed yesterday, if you follow Just Risa, she's giving Just Risa hell. All of these people are victims to this activity that yes, it's illegal. Talking mess is not illegal. Because if that's the case, if she wants to come after us for talking bad about her, she's just as guilty, because she started the thing in the first place. So if you can't dish it out, then don't. If you can't take it, don't dish it out. That's all I'm going to say. Exactly, Fonda. Batshit crazy. Excuse my French. Batshit crazy. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. Here we go. There we go. Y'all hear my songs? I got me some music. Let me turn it down a little bit. That might be a little too loud. Is that cool? Put a 1 in the chat if you think that sounds good. Let me go back to my comments. Yes, we do have freedom of speech. Yes, we got a vibe going on now. Now mine don't sing, Auntie Mickey, Auntie Mickey. I just got music. Hey, lady. Hello, sweetie. I got the music. Lady Letitia helped me get my music on here together, so I thank her from the bottom of my heart, because I sure was struggling. I was like, I don't know what to do. But I got it. But again, I implore all of you. You want it a little softer, Crystal? Let me turn it down a little bit more. Okay. Can y'all hear me okay still? Put a 1 in the chat if that's fine. She is Sloan. She really is a sweetheart. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to drown myself out. I know I got a big mouth, but I don't want to have to scream over music. So yes, welcome the lady of the hour, Lady Letitia, into the chat. Good to see you, sweetheart. Good to see you. Okay, you guys ready for this phone number? I'm going to give it to you. I need y'all to call the Laval Police Department. The number is area code 450-662-3400. Select option number 2. And of course they speak French, but they speak English as well. And just let them know. Just let them know what this person is doing. Give her name. If there's any other information that you need, you can hit me up through email or Lady Letitia, either way it goes. But I don't care if she knows about this. This is just something that maybe she should know. But everything else, we move in silence. That's the best thing to do. Move in silence. Yes. And give Lady Letitia's name as well. Both of us. And Just Risa. Danny Robertson. She's done this to so many people. Lady, what is the young man's name that she did doxed yesterday? RC, is it RC117, I think? Did I get that right? RC117. Yes. Lady Letitia's been working behind the scenes, and so have I. Yes, ma'am. RC117. Yes. Move in silence. That's the best way to go. You never let people know what you're going to do. You never want to get them prepared. I will text it to you, Jess. I'll make sure I text it to you, love. I know you're driving. So the sooner we get that roach out of here, the better. I don't care if she leaves YouTube or not. Just leave us. Go mess with somebody else. Fool around and find out. Because everybody ain't going to let you just do this. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't going to let y'all do this or let you do this. I'm not saying y'all. Yes. Ain't nothing worse than throwing a rock and hiding your hand. Now, I'm not saying nothing y'all ain't ever heard before. So, let's put this dog down out of her misery. Let's put the dog down. I don't know. I wasn't aware of the petition. But if there wasn't one, there needs to be. But sometimes when you go to war, you got to attack on all flanks. That's right. He's not even a content creator. He's just a regular person that, comes to support other content creators. And you're attacking subscribers now? Are you serious? Wow. That's sad. So, you guys, there's the number. I can even put it in my community tab as well. If you couldn't write it down tonight, I'll put it in the community tab. And anyone who would like to call, please do. Because enough is enough. Okay. Oh, that was someone else, Luanda. I don't even think that went anywhere. I know which one you're talking about now. Yeah, that was by someone else. So, with that said, that little piece of information is now behind me in terms of this live stream. Okay. Now, the last thing I wanted to cover is something that I think all of you will enjoy. Now, I don't know how many of y'all are old enough to remember. I know there's a few of you who remember how we used to sometimes have to scratch and scratch, or should I say our parents had to scratch and stretch scraps to make ends meet, feed us, feed big families. And I was checking out a channel yesterday that was specifically talking about this very thing. And I just thought I would share it with you. Because we're going to come to a time with that orange orangutan in office, when he passed that big, beautiful bill. Many people are going to have to resort to cutting back and stretching meals, things of that nature. See, we've gotten away from cooking like our parents and our grandparents used to do. We've gotten away from that because we've gotten, accustomed to microwave and DoorDash, and pizza delivery, and all these things that we get it right away. But when you get it right away, there's a flip side to that. You have to pay for that convenience, But we're getting ready to face a time here in America with, things such as the overtime issue. How was it explained to me? If you work overtime, you will only get 75% of that overtime until you hit a certain plateau. I'm not sure what that is, but whatever it is, it's not right. And many people are going to be working overtime for no reason. They're going to just end up not getting their money for it. So I thought that this might be a good little reminder of how important it is to go back to those old days. And, we used to cook a different kind of way. Some of us still cook that way as we did back in the day, but a lot of people don't. So I wanted to share this with you. Let me turn this music down. I'll turn it way down. That's way, way down. Okay, so here we go. Maybe I should share it first, huh? Share the screen. Duh. Okay. The name of the video, I'm going to shout out One Mic History. That's where the video came from. And the title of the video is How Black Cooks Turn Scraps into Soul Food Classics. Okay, so some of us are going to have to go way back in the time. Here we go.
Have you ever wondered why we eat soul food? Well, today we're going to talk about the history of African Americans and soul food. And if you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. But without further ado, let's get started. Although fried chicken evolved independently across many different countries, fried chicken is a distinctly American invention. The origins of fried chicken can be traced back to enslaved Africans who brought together Scottish techniques of deep frying chicken with fat and seasoning techniques from Western African cooking. One of the earliest recipes of fried chicken came from the British cookbook in 1747 called The Art of Cookery, Made Plain and Easy by Hannah Glass. The recipe, which was a hit in Britain and the colonies, particularly in the southern states, called for the butchering of pieces of chicken to be floured, then fried in lard. While there's not a lot of strong evidence that fried chicken is from Western Africa or it was invented, then brought over in the transatlantic slave trade, West Africans did have a history of cooking chicken. They typically would use a method of braising their chicken. This is most likely the slave population that became linked to fried chicken because they were already familiar with cooking chicken and because the prevalence of poultry here in the United States.
Hi, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and welcome to my
Okay,
Mountain Television
that's not
Software
what I
demo
wanted.
stunt.
Get out of here.
This is where the history of chicken takes a racist turn in the early 19th century. Fried chicken then became linked to Southern states, and Southerners started to link it to racist stereotypes connected to African Americans. They depicted them as poultry thieves and ravenous eaters of fried chicken. And you start to see the popular stereotypes used in the connection of African Americans eating certain foods, reinforcing the idea that African Americans were not intellectual. Two of the most popular images used in terms of food was fried chicken and
Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that cartoon? That little pickaninny girl with the watermelon? I know I'm not the only one that remembers that. But man, y'all remember sitting out on the front porch eating watermelon and spitting the seeds out? See, we didn't have seedless watermelon back then. I don't know about some of you, but I know as a kid, I remember we had to deal with them black seeds. Sometimes we would cut it up and take a spoon and scoop them out so we didn't have to deal with them. But now we have the luxury of having seedless watermelon. But we're going to have to get used to going back, way back into time.
watermelon. Ironically, plenty of white people love these same foods, but for whatever reason, the idea and the negative stereotypes associating these foods with African Americans, and it still exists today. The irony of it is that before the 20th century, fried chicken was seen as a luxury item only eaten on special occasions. Although the recipe is extremely simple, not everyone has the right kitchen tools or the access to poultry to make it at home until dramatic improvements in poultry farming in the early 20th century. As the United States began to flex its military muscle at the beginning of the 20th century, Black GIs taught the world about delicacies of American barbecue, chitlins, and fried chicken. Motivated to settle overseas because of the enduring racism of the United States and the relative social acceptance of African Americans in other countries, many former servicemen opened up restaurants and shared their beloved recipes and turned regional soul food into a global phenomenon. The global spread of soul food really took off after the end of World War II. Recently discharged Black military veterans in the European theater stayed overseas and opened and operated restaurants. At first, they mainly cooked for African Americans who were on active duty, but these home-style meals also found patrons from an unexpected source: foreign foodies. Europe was not the only place where soul food thrived. African American veterans stayed behind to open restaurants in Asia. After serving in Korea and Vietnam, these countries became well known for soul food restaurants with a patronage of both African Americans and Native Asians.
Catherine, you're absolutely right. Catherine says, I told my son there is no need to spit the seeds out, Auntie Mickey, because the seeds can't harm you if you eat them. And those seeds, if you chew them seeds up, they make things go through. How can I say this diplomatically? They make things move a little better. Let's put it like that. Get rid of some of that constipation that we've been dealing with recently in recent years. We've got to take supplements and stuff like that just to stay regular. But there's natural things that we can be taking to make that happen for us without having to go to the store and spend $50 on a bottle of pills that ain't really doing much. But watermelon seeds are known to help clean your intestines out. It's natural.
American soldiers were stationed in South Korea during the Korean War, introduced the concept of frying and battering chicken as a substitute for turkey on Thanksgiving. This was likely the first introduction of the food to the Korean people, who were primarily steaming chicken or eating it in stews. However, it would not be for decades after the end of the Korean War that American-style fried chicken took off in Korea. During the 60s, the first ever rotisserie chicken shop opened up in Korea, along with the invention of the yellow bag chicken. Salarymen would bring home yellow bag chicken, which was a whole rotisserie chicken in a bag, and give it to their families. At the time, chicken was still not widely consumed in Korea, thus the price was considerably expensive. Chicken became viewed as a luxury item that all families look forward to eating once in a while. The reputation and popularity began to skyrocket. It was this nostalgia that helped fuel the boom of the coming fried chicken movement. Then, two changes occurred during the 70s. Cheap cooking oil became widely available, and fried chicken became more affordable. This made it possible for families to prepare their own fried chicken, season it, coat it in flour before dunking the entire bird in hot oil. Fried chicken then went mainstream in 1977 with the opening of Lem's Fried Chicken in the basement of Seoul's Sinsky department store. The owner of Lem's Fried Chicken had traveled to the United States in 1975 for university and saw how KFC sold its fried chicken in pieces. He began experimenting and creating his own ginseng chicken and selling its creation in a 6-piece set. Lem's Fried Chicken became the first fried chicken franchise in South Korea, and the appetite for the dish only grew larger as KFC entered the market in 1984. As of February of 2022, there were a staggering 87,000 Korean fried chicken joints in South Korea. In an ironic twist, the phenomenon has gone full circle.
See you later, Eye of Crystal. Thank you for coming by. You got that part right, Rose. Food don't taste the same to me like when I was a child. That is so right. There was just a way that our older folks seasoned that food and prepared it. They prepared it out of love. You know what I'm saying? Catherine says, I thought that KFC entered the market before 1984. Oh, yes, well before 1984. I remember going to KFC as a little kid back in the late 60s. So they've been around a long time, very long time. Matter of fact, I had me some KFC yesterday. I ain't gonna lie, that's why I'm tired of chicken now. Let me start this back up. Get me to talking about this food. Hey, RC117, I was just talking about you, love. Let me see. Let me turn on this camera real quick. Hey, RC. How are you, love? If you get a chance to look at the replay, I had something to say about the maggot, so I don't want to have to rehash that. It's old news, but yeah, we gonna get this thing together, okay? Let me play this.
As Korean fried chicken stores now open up restaurants here in the United States.
Hey, Nadine. Sweet potato pie.
Every year, America
potato
enjoys their traditional feast known as Thanksgiving, and during this time, pumpkin and sweet potato pies sales spike. But did you know the history behind these beloved desserts and their connection to Northern abolitionists, Thanksgiving, and the holiday season as a whole? See, Thanksgiving pumpkin pie was once the hotly contested battleground in America's cultural war. In the 1800s, pumpkins and sweet potatoes became a totem in the fight to abolish slavery in America. The introduction of sweet potatoes to Western Africa in the 16th century was a very slow process. Initially, root vegetables such as cassava and yams were preferred over sweet potatoes. However, after the transatlantic slave trade, which helped spread the popularity of sweet potatoes in Europe and the Americas, it was only then that the African American community started using sweet potatoes because of their convenience.
Have any of you ever combined sweet potatoes and yams when making a sweet potato pie? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever combined the two. Somebody told me that was going to be awful. I tried it. It was actually pretty good. I'm just curious if anybody else has tried that as well. Combination of sweet potatoes and yams. Fonda says, that's why I cook my own food. Very little that I order out for delivery. like 3 times 8 for a treat. Yes. You're allergic to yams? Oh my God, Sloan. You're not allergic to sweet potatoes though, are you? Please don't be allergic to sweet potatoes. Hi, Desire and Fire. Yeah, them were the days when folks knew how to cook. Our young people don't know how to cook. Not worth a quarter. I'm talking about these young people coming up in their 20s. Oh, okay, good. Sweet potatoes are fine. Good.
Africa is a yam-based culture. While sweet potatoes are not the same thing as a tropical yam, enslaved people embraced them as a substitute in the absence of true yams. Before they had sweet potato pie, they had something called sweet potato pound, which is a corruption of the Native American word for baked bread. Enslaved people were eating roasted sweet potatoes cooked in the embers of fire and started spicing and mashing up sweet potatoes. As they got access to cooking technology and equipment like ovens, they started adding pie fillings, and the sweet potato pie was born. After slavery was abolished, African Americans began to migrate away from the southern United States in what was referred to as the Great Migration. During this time period, many African Americans brought along one of their favorite dishes, sweet potato pie, and it was introduced to other regions of the country.
I don't know.
During the same time period, during the early 19th century, eating pumpkins and celebrating Thanksgiving became synonymous with identity politics. Abolitionist and pumpkin enthusiast and home economics pioneer Sarah Joseph Hale was the driving force behind the pro-Thanksgiving campaign. Hale campaigned for state-level Thanksgiving celebrations and was largely successful in the early 1800s, helping spur declarations for Thanksgiving in 29 states by 1850. But as the fight over slavery intensified and the Civil War loomed, people in the southern states began to reject what they saw as northern cultural aggressions. The state of Virginia in particular wanted no part of Thanksgiving. In a letter to Hale, Virginia Governor Henry Wise, who was strongly pro-slavery, expressed his disapproval of New England abolitionist goals by referring to the theatrical national claptrap of Thanksgiving, which he said was used to encourage ministers to preach Christianity politics. Still, in 1863, Abraham Lincoln would declare the last Thursday in November as the National Day of Thanksgiving. Lincoln hoped that this holiday would serve in some way to heal the wounds of the nation and restore it. And since then, every president has kept that tradition alive. Still, some members of the Confederacy were unhappy with the Thanksgiving celebration and perceived it as a political move. They were especially unhappy with what they saw as a New Englander attempting to dictate how they should live. So for many years after the Civil War, Southerners refused to celebrate Thanksgiving and refused to eat pumpkin pie. It was not until after Reconstruction that Southern states began to accept Thanksgiving, and it wasn't until 1941 that Thanksgiving holiday was officially recognized in the federal law.
Why are you not investing in tax liens?
All right.
No, seriously. Why are you not investing into one of the most incredible real estate strategies?
So, in the absence of pumpkin pie, Southerners started cooking sweet potato pie made by formerly enslaved people. Pumpkin pie, despite its popularity, remained a Yankee food for many generations. It didn't gain widespread recognition across the South until the 20th century when television and supermarkets began to promote mass market pumpkin pie filling.
Watermelon. That's what's up.
The stereotype of African Americans being excessively fond of watermelons came during a specific period in history and was used to fulfill a specific political purpose. After slaves won their emancipation, they made watermelon a symbol of their newfound freedom by growing, eating, and selling it. Southern whites responded by using the fruit to depict African Americans as unclean, lazy, and childishness. This trope was so widely accepted within popular culture that the origins of it are almost forgotten. The trope of the racist watermelon didn't emerge until after emancipation. In the early 1900s, the European imagination associated the typical watermelon eater with Italians or Arabs. A British officer stationed in Egypt in 1808 described the watermelon as a poor Arab feast. noting that the locals ate them ravenously as if the passersby was going to snatch them away. Watermelon rinds were apparently a common sight on the streets of the port city of Rosetta. In Egypt, watermelon was also associated with uncleanliness, laziness, and childishness.
Ain't that something? To be so narrow-minded about a people that you would identify them as lazy and trifling and all this because they like watermelon. I mean, we all like watermelon. It don't matter what color you are. What difference does it make? It's all good. And who profits the most off of all this now? I'm just wondering. Sloan says, fun fact, yams are helpful for menopausal women to help regulate hot flashes, mood stability, and sleep. Well, that's good to know. I wish I'd have known that when I was going through the menopause. Anyway, I digress. They sure don't, Fonda. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit because this is just talking about the stereotypical perceptions of certain foods with certain people. I really want to get off into. Here we go. Let's talk about ice cream.
Jim Crow laws enforced a racial segregation in the American South from the 1890s to the 1960s. Named after Thomas Rice and his minstrel character, Jim Crow Rice, these laws were designed to maintain racial hierarchy, and the laws covered every aspect of Black life, from voting rights to public transportation, and were strategically designed to marginalize African Americans. The insidious impact of the system extended beyond legal restrictions, seeping into social norms and customs that enforced a rigid racial hierarchy. One particular instance of Jim Crow's absurdity was the claim that Black people were prohibited from eating vanilla ice cream except on Independence Day. While there is no direct evidence refuting or confirming this claim, that's because there was no laws or ordinances that expressly banned African Americans from consuming ice cream. This claim seems to have emerged from the societal arena where riddled with prejudice and unspoken practices. To understand this concept, it's crucial to delve into the idea of Jim Crow laws and how they were formulated and implemented. Jim Crow came in two forms: laws and etiquette. Southern states instituted a rigid system of segregation laws that limited access to public facilities, businesses, transportation, and even leisure activities. But etiquette was unwritten rules that dictated how African Americans should perform in white society. This varied from person to person, but some common norms was not being allowed to handshake a white male or display any friendly gesture to a white woman, avoid eating with whites, and if by chance they found themselves eating together, whites were to be served first. For example, in the book Behind the Backlash, White Working Class Politics in Baltimore, 1940 to 1880 by Kenneth Dunn, Dunn mentions that segregated dining was the norm and asserted that Black people could not eat vanilla ice cream in the presence of white people except on July 4th, when everyone could eat anything.
Is that crazy? Is that me or is that just crazy? I'm sorry you can't eat vanilla ice cream because you Black. Except maybe on the 4th of July. What difference does it make when you eat it? I don't understand. You missed the Maggot update, Whiskey? Okay, I'll go over it in a few minutes. How about that? I'll go over that in a few minutes. We're going to cover some more of this and then I'll go back over it, okay? Okay.
Another example is Maya Angelou's biography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Maya Angelou shares that people in her hometown believed that white people were so biased against Black people that they couldn't even buy vanilla ice cream except on July 4th. Additionally, ice cream parlors were a social hub for white Southerners and typically off limits to Blacks. If they were served at all, they were relegated to a separate window and prohibited from eating on the premises.
Wow.
What the specific role that vanilla ice cream played in all of this customs seems to be a bit ambiguous. Perhaps the consumption of the popular flavor was merely seen as a privilege reserved for whites. Arguably, the restriction of vanilla ice cream could serve as a clear boundary between blacks and whites and remind them of their secondary status. Vanilla ice cream seemed to have served as a metaphor of showcasing the unnerving realities of Jim Crow. And in light of this bias, African American community seems to have gravitated more towards butter pecan ice cream. Roasted peanuts were a favorite of Native American communities long before they were incorporated into desserts, but credit for popularizing butter pecan as a culinary delicacy goes to Black Southerners who were known to integrate pecans into traditional dishes, suggesting the familiarity and preference for the ingredient.
Pecan pie. Pecan pie. Now I understand why we was always buying pecans. Butter pecan ice cream, pecan pie, pineapple upside down cake with the big walnuts and pecans. Ooh, Jesus, I'm getting hungry. Let me stop.
During segregation years, pecans became an integral part of African American cuisine, especially in New Orleans. The city's cuisine was famous for their pecans, which was tossed with butter and brown sugar before being cast into many different culinary delights. This ultimately led to the introduction into ice cream as a way to implement more ice cream flavors. As African Americans produced, churned, and sold butter pecan through neighborhood parlors, this fostered a sense of community and shared identity and economic independence in these segregated spaces. Basketball player Shaquille O'Neal recounted in his 2001 autobiography, Shaq Talks Back, that his father scolded him for wanting vanilla ice cream and insisting that they only ate butter pecan. Celebrity chef Gerby Garvin recalled that butter pecan ice cream became a regular part of his family's tradition, and former NFL player Albert Hainsworth recalled that butter pecan was the flavor of Black people. In the end, the Jim Crow laws and resulting racial etiquettes created a severe societal divide in the southern United States. And even when the context of something as simple as just consuming ice cream, while there's no actual law that prevented African Americans eating vanilla ice cream, there are enough personal stories that indicate that this etiquette practice did exist, at least in some forms, in the southern United States. And the rise of butter pecan as the African American flavor of choice exemplifies our resiliency in the face of adversity. And it's a testament how African Americans continue to communicate their culture through our foods.
I tell you the truth. Jay Breezy says my grandmother would make homemade ice cream at family reunions when she was alive. My grandfather had had one of them hand churned ice cream makers. Man, I'm telling you the truth. I made some of the best, oh my God, some of the best strawberry ice cream you'd ever want to eat. Oh my God, I miss those days. I don't know what I did with that ice cream maker, but oh my God, it was so good. It was so good.
Everyone who's watched a television program has probably
Barbecue. Now I'm going to stop after the barbecue because this is a really...
The origins of barbecue as we know it can be traced back to native tribes in the Caribbean and their indigenous cooking methods. The first Spanish colonizers embarked on their New World voyages in the 15th century. They were fascinated by the techniques employed by the indigenous Taino people. The Native Americans would slow cook their meat over wooden structures over a pit of fire. This method was termed barbacoa, and this enthralled colonizers so much that they incorporated barbacoa into their Spanish lexicon, with it eventually becoming the word barbecue. The story of barbecue doesn't end with Spanish colonizers. These explorers took the cooking method of barbacoa with them to North America, where it was adopted by the local people and colonizers alike. The first known written mention of pork barbecue was around Mississippi. The book, The Historical Roots of the Yaknak Kapapa, 1540-1962, authors Don Harrison Doyle wrote in December of 1540, near present-day Tupelo, Mississippi, the explorer Hernando de Soto and the Chickasaw tribe had a feast of Spanish cooked pork using the barbacoa method. By the 16th or 17th centuries, barbecue had become an integral part of everyday life in the southern part of North America, where there's even a painting from 16th century French explorer Jacques Lemoyne that shows Native Americans in Florida using a wooden frame over burning logs to cook a variety of foods like fish, mammals, and reptiles. George Washington, who was once charged with procuring meat for his soldiers during the French and Indian Wars, even talked about barbecuing in the Indian manner. With the arrival of enslaved Africans to the Americas in the 16th century, this caused a significant shift in the cultural and culinary landscape. Forced to adapt to a strange new environment, these Africans learned to sustain themselves through ingenious methods. They closely observed the cooking methods of the Native Americans, specifically the technique of barbecuing. This slow cook method was ideal for larger cuts of meat, which made it popular for communal gatherings. It's around this time that the groundwork was laid for the Southern style of pit barbecuing. However, the adaptation from the Native American techniques of suspended racks to in-pit barbecue is very murky. There is scant written references from the 18th century to shed light on this evolution. But despite the lack of documentation, it's plausible that this move into the ground was an inevitable progression. Around the same time was the introduction of unique African flavors and cooking techniques into barbecue by the enslaved community. Enslaved Africans didn't just learn Native American techniques of barbecuing, but they contributed their own, like the process of smoking meat over a gentle flame. It was a common practice in several African cultures and was originally designed to preserve the freshness of meat. This method eventually fused with the open pit cooking style that formed the basis for the barbecue style that we know today. Southern barbecue would gain popularity around the mid-1700s on Virginia plantations and then slowly make its way south from there. However, it's important to know that barbecues were not a regular event, but they were organized around holidays, special events, and political gatherings. Adrian Miller, the author of Black Smoke, a book around the history of Black barbecue, would state that by the 1830s, people believed that a proper barbecue required an African-American cook and his team. Barbecue was seen as a Black experience. Furthermore, because African Americans popularized pit cooking, they earned the title of pit master. Originally, pit masters were the elderly slaves that were proficient in cooking who supervised the barbecue preparation. Later on, the term pit master will become known more broadly. One of the earliest known references to a pit master was published September 22nd, 1939 in the Daily Times News in Burlington, North Carolina. They wrote that Jeter Crutchfield, pitmaster, will supervise the beginning of a roasting pork for barbecue tonight at midnight. This is the first known use of the word pitmaster in print. And now, Jeter Crutchfield was a white man, and it was not uncommon for white men to be the face of local barbecue. But more often than not, the ones doing the actual work were African Americans. It's also important to note that the article specifies that Jeter will supervise. But regardless, it tells us that the term pitmaster had become so wrapped into the lexicon that it's found its way into a newspaper article by the 1930s. What makes enslaved Africans' adaptation to barbecue so ingenious was that it was built amongst their limitations. Barbecue is a complex, laborious process that requires mastery and precision, from building an adequate fire to keeping consistent temperature for hours to expertly handling the meat to achieve a perfect blend of texture and flavor. They were often provided the least favorable, tougher cuts of meat, and these skilled chefs used these knowledges of seasoning and slow cooking to render these tough, overlooked cuts of meat delicious.
See, that's where we are different. We know how to season some food. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm just being real about it. We know how. I mean, for generation after generation after generation have been able to season our food in such a way that everyone else needs to mimic it. Do you guys not agree? I have yet to see anybody season food the way we do in soul food. I love Mexican food. I love Italian food. um, Japanese, Chinese. I love all that. But there's just something about home. There's just something about home. You can't touch it. You can't touch it.
By the Civil War, Southerners had been barbecuing for almost 2 centuries, and a great many of these cooks were African American slaves who tended these pits and barbecues organized for the white community as well as events for their own family and friends. Sunday was often a day of rest and church sessions. This day became when enslaved people would barbecue for themselves. Thus, barbecue culture became an integral part of African American traditions. Today, celebrations like Juneteenth often center around barbecue, underlying the importance of barbecue within Black culture. After the Civil War, thousands of talented cooks in rural areas and small towns brought their barbecue tradition to hungry Southerners. Such examples was an African American cookbook author by the name of Abby Fisher, who was born into slavery in South Carolina in 1832 and shared her cooking skills while on plantation kitchens. After she obtained her freedom, she published a cookbook in 1881 named What Miss Fisher Knows About Old Southern Cooking. The cookbook does not contain any barbecue recipes, which is understandable because barbecuing was traditionally done by men outside in pits. However, one barbecue recipe stands out. It is called game sauce. The recipe calls for stewing a peck of plums after removing the stones with onions, vinegar, sugar, cayenne, black pepper, cinnamon, and salt, simmering the mixture for a full day, and she states that she will have the best barbecue sauce in the world. In the years after emancipation, Black barbecue traditions continued. While the names did not make the newspaper or other historical records, being a pitmaster was a high demand skill. And as freed African Americans began to form their own communities, they passed down this craft to the younger generations, and those traditions became integral into Black culture. Over time, Black cuisine and barbecue tradition became an essential part of larger American society, particularly in the Southern United States, where it is now known as Southern barbecue. However, this adoption came with issues like cultural appropriation and accommodation. Today, barbecue has become increasingly popular within mainstream American society.
But you know what? Again, I go back to the youth. The youth do not get in that kitchen the way we did. It seems as though our generation, I'm 62, so about to be 63. It seems like it stopped with us. You know, the kids, our kids and our grandkids, they ain't thinking about going in no kitchen and cooking. They want to get on an app and they want to order DoorDash. They want to order sushi. My grandsons eat sushi. They're 11. I'm like, what? You know, they love the soul food, but they don't want to put the heart and soul into it. They don't want to put the time and effort. When you cook like that, you cooking from your heart. You cooking from your soul. And everything that you put into that meal is in love. You know what I'm saying? And these young folk don't know nothing about that no more. It's like everything is microwave, you know, and not just microwave out of the microwave, but everything is right now. I need things right now, microwave right now. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Mr. Phillips, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It seems as though people have gotten away from putting that heart and soul into the food that they prepare for their loved ones. Yes, Fonda, the Jetsons. It's just like that. You know, food in a pouch. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to me. I can remember trying to learn how my grandmother couldn't cook a lick. But man, let me tell you, I made sure I got around some women that knew how to cook. Because to me, that's all a part of my job as a woman. You better learn how to you better get in that kitchen. Whether you have a man or not, get in that kitchen. Teach your kids how to cook. Because we come into a time in society that we're going to have to really hurry up and find out. You know, we about to go into a place where we going to have to start growing our own vegetables again and stuff like that. We've gotten so accustomed to being lazy when it comes to feeding our families. Yes, Catherine. Catherine says, I still cook home-cooked meals, Auntie Mickey. However, the generation after me is looking to eat right away. That's what I'm saying about that microwave mentality. They want their food within 30 minutes or less. Shoot, some of them want it in 10 minutes or less. They're so used to the way the food tastes out of the microwave that they don't understand just how valuable that home-cooked meal really is until they really taste it. Yes, exactly, RCW. Our backyard was full of vegetables, Diane said. But RC said, food is expensive. We living in an expensive world. Groceries are ridiculous. And that is the absolute truth. That is the absolute truth. You should have seen the video I saw about what they were doing to eat during the Depression. Some of these sandwiches they had to make. And some of y'all probably remember them. What was that? One of them was a mayonnaise sandwich. Y'all remember them mayonnaise sandwiches? Then you had the tomato and what was there? It was a salt and something sandwich. I saw some sandwiches on TV last night. I couldn't believe. I'm like, really? When did they do this? Now, I can eat the heck out of a banana and peanut butter sandwich. A lot of folk don't know about that. The Great Depression, yes. It's so funny you brought up the Great Depression. They used to be this lady named Clara who would cook foods from the Great Depression that her family would eat. Yes, syrup sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly, butter and sugar sandwiches. Yes, mayonnaise sandwiches, Diane. We used to have mayonnaise sandwiches. And I seen a sandwich last night that blew me away. It was a lard and salt sandwich. I had never heard of nothing like that before in my life. But the households had plenty of lard available and salt. And during the Great Depression, they would have to sometimes make sandwiches out of what they had. So they would just smear that lard out on that big piece of bread and sprinkle it with salt and eat it like it was a delicacy because that's how they had to eat. Let's Go Slots had a ketchup sandwich yesterday. I know that's right. My God. But we're coming back to those days. Remember hog head cheese? We don't hear about hog head cheese no more. Not unless we know somebody that makes it. But you don't find that in the store that often. Hog head cheese, red beans and rice. You know, things that we just looked at it as, wow, this is going to be good. It's Friday. We going to eat some fish. You know, sardine sandwiches. Stuff like that. People don't understand. We about to go back to them days. Watch. They better get ready.
It's considered an integral part of American cuisine. However, the widespread recognition often overlooks and glosses over the origins within Black culture. As a result, the origins of barbecue is often changed or even completely forgotten. Also, barbecue has become an increasingly profitable business. And with this, its cultural significance is washed away in a wave of commercial interest. Often mainstream American barbecue business cherishes barbecue as purely American while hiding the Black history behind its influence. Despite the appropriation, the authorization, and acclimatization. The
Okay.
tradition of barbecue still holds a special place within Black culture. It represents unity, resistance, strength, and freedom. This deep cultural meaning can be seen at Black family reunions, church gatherings, and other social events where barbecue is a crucial element. Moving from a survival strategy in enslaved Black community to a popular American tradition, barbecue shows the strength of shared culinary traditions and how they influence America's cultural identity.
Empower your students to be more authentic.
I tell you the truth. Hoghead cheese is, wait a minute. Catherine says hoghead cheese is souse meat and they still sell it in the deli at the supermarket. Really? What store? I got to find some hoghead cheese. But ain't nothing better than homemade hoghead cheese. Store bought, I've never tried it, but I hope it's good. Yes, I can look. Red beans and rice, black-eyed peas and rice, lima beans. We talking some beans up in here. Y'all want to look. Ain't gonna be no hunger if you get down to them beans. Ain't gotta have no meat in them. Them beans will do what they supposed to do. I'm a witness. Let me get rid of this ad.
Authentic, impactful writers with Grammarly's comprehensive AI writing assistant.
Fried chicken. Okay. Now I'll stop after fried chicken. We gotta keep fried
The
chicken.
concept of fried chicken goes all the way back to ancient Rome. A Roman cookbook named the Abacus was the first to suggest the recipe of fried chicken. However, it was the Moors who truly developed and refined the art of frying chicken in the Mediterranean. Traditional fried chicken, as we know it, has its origins in two distinct cultures, Scottish and West African. The Scots were the first to introduce the idea of frying chicken, which was quite different from the usual European cooking methods of baking and broiling. There was evidence that the Scots had been deep frying poultry in fat since the Middle Ages. An interesting piece of evidence from 1773 diary of the writer James Boswell wrote about a dinner he had in the Isle of Skye, which included fried chicken. One of the very first known written recipes of fried chicken comes in a British cookbook entitled The Art of Cookery, Made Plain and Easy by Hannah Glass in 1747. The recipe, loved by both British and the American colonies, in the recipe calls to cut 2 pieces of chicken into quarters, lay them in vinegar for 2 to 4 hours with salt, pepper, a bay leaf, and cloves of garlic in a very thick batter. First with a half a pint of wine and flour, then 2 egg yolks, melt a little butter, grated oregano, some chopped parsley, beat very well, dip your fowls in the batter, and fry them up in a good deal of hog lard. Wow, it was Scottish immigrants who first introduced fried chicken to the United States. They were definitely not the ones that popularized it. That was done by Western Africans. During that time period, Western Africans were very familiar with cooking chicken, and they usually used a braising technique. However, once in America, enslaved Africans used their culinary traditions to introduce the concepts of seasoning and spices and imbued the flavor and zest into an otherwise mundane dish. See, at the time, the Scots weren't putting any seasoning in their fried chicken. Upon arrival, enslaved people found themselves in an alien landscape amidst an unfamiliar food and culinary norms. Nonetheless, they were expected to utilize the ingredients that were accessible to them while continuing to draw on their deep culinary traditions.
Urban, thank you so much for the additional 5 Auntie Mickey's memberships. Anybody that receives a gifted membership from Urban Media Productions, please give her hearts in the chat and give her love. Show her love. Thank you so much, my sweet. Hi, Holly. How are you, sweetheart? Let's see. Tropical Life said, where is it? Where'd it go? There it goes. It says growing fruit and vegetables that have seeds germinate easily. Just throw them out and they'll sprout. The hardest part is insect control. Hoghead cheese is still available in NOLA. I see one day I got to get to NOLA. I got to get to New Orleans. If I don't go to New Orleans for nothing else, I'm going to eat. I got to go get me some New Orleans food. Oh, thank you, Lady Letitia, for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, love. I bless you. Thank you, sweetheart. Lard made the best fried chicken. Oh, yes, it did. Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did. Shoot, they better ask somebody. Here, where we go?
African culinary habits bustling featured poultry and fowl, and chicken played a significant role, making this an easily adaptable ingredient when they reached the New World. Their culinary skill and ingenious improvisation of the enslaved people played a huge role in the growth and popularity of fried chicken. They combined their African cooking techniques with already available ingredients in America to create something completely different. For example, West African cultures use palm oil most often for frying foods. However, in America, enslaved Africans had to switch to using lard or pig fat or fat of other animals to fry chicken. This was because those ingredients were more readily available and less expensive. Chickens also played a significant part in the lives of enslaved people. Chickens were amongst the few animals that enslaved people were permitted to keep and care for, and they became a key part of their meals. Raising chickens was manageable and presented enslaved people with an opportunity to express some level of.
I'm going to ask for souse meat. Is that what you said, Catherine? Souse meat or souse meat, which is hoghead cheese. I'm going to definitely check that out, sweetheart, because I got a taste for some now. Give me some crackers. Yeah, it's on and popping.
Independence. Chickens also had economic importance because sometimes enslaved people were allowed to trade or sell their surplus eggs and meat for other goods. However, if a chicken fell sick or died, enslaved people were forced to eat it to avoid wasting the food. Therefore, they came up with the idea of cleaning and seasoning the meat, then frying it in hot oil.
Okay, Fonda, don't play with me. Don't play with me, because you know I can tear up some catfish. Some catfish and some cornbread. You want your cornbread? Well, I'm going to take your cornbread. Yeah. I love that movie. Government cheese. Yes, it was. Oh, my God. The best government cheese ever was in them big brown boxes. They came in a big old loaf. And they made the best macaroni and cheese. They made the best grilled cheese sandwiches. Lord, have mercy. We need the food banks to come back with that stuff. With the government, GUBMENT cheese. Oh my God.
During slavery, fried chicken was a luxury reserved for special occasion. Although the recipe is extremely simple, preparing it took a lot of time, effort. Not everyone had access to the right kitchen tools or even the access to available poultry. Still, as more and more people tasted fried chicken, it began to disseminate across the South. And by the end of the Civil War, the connection between African Americans and fried chicken was already firmly established. In the period following the Civil War, mass-produced fried chicken and inexpensive oils became readily available. However, during the same time period, racial laws restricted employment opportunities for African Americans, particularly women. So they resorted to selling their homemade fried chicken, often considered Sunday meal, to travelers. This economic strategy helped propagate Southern railways and therefore solidified fried chicken as a Southern staple and a nationwide symbol. The best example of this took place in Gordonville, Virginia. Despite this small town of only 900 residents, Gordonville, Virginia was an important stop for two major railroad lines. During that time period, trains did not have dining cars, so passengers had to figure out how to feed themselves, and some would pack their own food, while others chose to purchase meals during their trip. Spotting a business opportunity, African American women used to sell their homemade food to passing travelers. They would serve fried chicken and pies and biscuits and deliver them to the hands of passengers on a platform through the train windows. The women were known as waiter carriers. But by the turn of the century, majority of the trains began to equip with dining cars, and governmental regulations became more stringent for platform food vendors. And as a result, this innovative business tradition had to come to an end. During the Great Migration, many African Americans moved from the South to northern industrial cities, and they took their food traditions with them, including their beloved fried chicken that reminded them of their former homes. Over time, African Americans started to eat fried chicken as a staple meal after church. They also would serve the best part of the chicken, typically the breast, to the pastors as they visited the home. During this time, chicken would become known by gospel bird or the Sunday cluck.
See, there go them pastors taking the best piece of meat. No, let me shut up. Not all pastors are like that. But you know what I'm saying. Oh my God.
This would continue up until around World War II, when fried chicken was still only being enjoyed on special occasions. It was still relatively labor-intensive process. But by the 1950s, the popularity of fried chicken exploded due to the rise of fast food chains. Many entrepreneurs in the fast food industry saw America's passion for fried chicken and decided to capitalize on it. Companies started to brainstorm ways to quickly cook up a massive amount of fried chicken and serve them fresh to their customers. It was during this time period that fried chicken went from being a national American dish to an international dish.
Now, did they tell the story in this video where the Colonel got his recipe? They ain't talking about that, did they? Remember the Colonel? Colonel Sanders. He had the so-called best chicken in the land, but they didn't want to talk about where he got that secret recipe from. I wonder why. Wow. Get rid of this ad. Get out of here.
However, it was also during this time period, during the Jim Crow era, where racial stereotypes between African Americans were closely tied to fried chicken, asserting Black folks as poultry thieves and ravenous eaters of fried chicken. This portrayal cast African Americans as inherently savage and unintelligent, as predatory, lustful beings who exhibited primal, uncontrollable affection for food, particularly fried chicken. In 1915, the film The Birth of a Nation popularized the trope of African Americans as chicken thieves, painting them as dim-witted and lazy. In one scene, elected Black officials were seen swigging from whiskey bottles and putting their bare feet on tables, while another man is seen ravenously gnawing on a chicken bone. Such imagery permeated deep into the 19th century, and these stereotypes continuously showed in various types of movies and media and TV shows and advertisements. These often showed African Americans indulging in specific types of foods like fried chicken and watermelon. This was propagated to the point to insinuate that African Americans were less intelligent and highlighted white society's perceived cultural and racial superiority.
Little did they know. Little did they know. Little did they know. But it was okay for us to cook all their food and raise their kids and nurse their kids. Isn't that something? Wow.
This stereotype was often employed with the humor trope to belittle Blacks, thus underscoring Black people's subjugated status. In today's world, the stereotype persists, and the media plays a significant role in establishing and perpetuating and amplifying these stereotypes. From racist depictions, minstrel shows, to negative portrayals and modern advertisements, media contributed significantly towards the racial myth-making of fried chicken. Even as attempts to counter these negative stereotypes in contemporary media, old tropes occasionally resurface and underline the persistence and cultural baggage that fried chicken seems to carry. In 2010, a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial in Australia depicted a white person calming down a rowdy crowd of Black people with fried chicken. While the ad was labeled as racist, it's also seen as an example of exactly how these stereotypes continue to spread. It forced KFC to apologize publicly and pull the ad. However, despite these stereotypes propagating in the media, Many African American chefs and food writers have made efforts to attempt to reclaim the narrative and highlight the historical and cultural significance of fried chicken. They continue to elevate Southern traditional meals, including fried chicken, to the realm of gourmet cuisine. And the success of Black-owned businesses shows that African American entrepreneurs can succeed despite these stereotypes. Strides are being taken to dismantle these stereotypes, but the work is ongoing. As historian Michael Twitty points out, fried chicken is a soul food classic, but it's not the whole of African Americans' culinary heritage. Nonetheless, fried chicken continues to remain a staple in many African American gatherings and celebrations, and resembling resilience, resourcefulness, and culinary creativity amidst a history fraught with hardship and repression.
Okay, I'm blurry, probably because I'm hungry. Am I blurry? I must be hungry, Mr. Phillips. Y'all want to see the mac and cheese video, or do we need to move on? I think we done got full enough. What y'all think? No? Okay. We don't have to see the mac and cheese video. Let me exit this one out. But all I can say is this, is that we, as a people, have definitely created the cuisine of America, whether they want to admit it or not. Too blurry? I'm too blurry, Urban? Okay. Well, I want to move on to something else anyway. One thing I forgot to put in the title that I need to touch base with you very quickly is that many of you probably heard about the truck driver that was allegedly missing. I did a video. Stone Paxton did a video, did a live stream about it. And then later in that evening, I did one as well about missing truck drivers that are being unalived while doing their routes. It is still a major problem. However, for those of you who did not know, it came to pass that that story was a lie. A TikToker created the whole story and put it out there on the internet, and many people took it to heart and thought that it was right. I mean, that it was a real thing. So I'm not sure if everyone else saw Stone Paxton's live stream that he did on I think it was Saturday. He did a live stream on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, speaking about that particular, needs to be booted off of TikTok and YouTube for that. But I wish I knew the name of this so-called content creator, if you will, that made up this story. But Stone Paxton actually talked to the man. So he's not missing. He's not even a truck driver. That's the crazy part about it. This man was on vacation. He was getting phone calls from all kinds of people worried about him because this TikToker wanted views and clicks. I can't believe the nerve of some of these people nowadays that will make up anything to get attention. Sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? They'll make up anything. No, that was not true, Urban. She made it all up. The whole story about the wife and everything. It was one big lie. And I promised myself I would come up here and clear the air about that. Hold on just a second. Okay, Urban. Let me turn up my music. Where is my music? There we go. Okay. Okay, Urban, you can come on up. I put the link in the chat. But yeah, come to find out that whole story was not true. Exactly, Fonda. But that's not to say that there's not a problem out there. There's a bad problem out there about racism and black truck drivers, male and female, that needs to be addressed. But that particular story was not true. Zone Paxson definitely talked to that man. His name was Eric something. I can't remember off the top of my head. And he had a conversation with him. He was on vacation. He was on his last day of vacation when Stone talked to him. Hello, Urban. Hi, Urban.
Yes. Hi, Auntie.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hello, chat family. Auntie, this is like, really?
Unbelievable.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Wow, this is something else. Let me tell you, since that had occurred, I've been like doing my research and things of that sort and connecting and communicating. I came up with the idea and I still may go forward with this. I was looking at setting up a call center, at home, like for different people could get on the call center, a hotline, to make sure truckers are safe out there, on the road. There's a cost to keep it going, but that's just something that's really needed. But whoever this person is, oh no, they need to be punished for that.
Definitely.
I hope that person, that the fellow, I hope he's sued. That's a lawsuit, I would say.
I would think so. Stone put the name of the person that put that lie out there. He did a live stream. I believe it was on I want to say Saturday, and it's in the actual live stream title, and it says fake news. So if you go into his channel and look at his live streams, find the one that says fake news. That's the one, and he'll give you the name of that content creator. But a lot of people, excuse me.
Get something to drink.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. You all right? You look frozen to me.
I choked on my cookie.
You need a second or two?
Oh no, I'm good. I just have to swallow this. But he was really upset about it, and he did a live about it. And he gave the name of the content creator. Apparently, this person's on YouTube as well. But this was a TikToker.
But you know what's make that so bad, Auntie? It could be, now she did the Boy Cried Wolf.
Exactly. That's the first thing I thought about.
Anytime something like this happens again, nobody may not believe it. And it could be real.
Exactly. And that is so conceivable. That's the first thing I thought about when he made that announcement. And he was livid. I don't blame him one bit, but he was livid about it. And again, it's just like the little boy who cried wolf. Then when the real thing happens, ain't nobody gonna believe you. You know,
Right.
it's sad because the problem still exists. The problem is definitely out there on these roads. You know,
Was that some kind of revenge or something?
I don't know. I don't know if this chick was trying to get clicks and views or what. Probably trying to, you know, get more views, make more money on TikTok. But
That
it's crazy.
sounded personal, though.
Yeah,
To
this
do
man,
something like that.
this man, he's not even a truck driver. He's an educator in the DMV area. He's in Dallas, and his students were just fit to be tied. So that lie had huge repercussions on other people, you know, and
Yes.
some people don't realize your lie can hurt somebody in the long run. You know, somebody could have reacted to a certain situation that they were in, thinking that they were in a situation that their life could have been in danger, and they could have, you know, unalived somebody else, and it might have been, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you put
Yes.
false stories out there, false narratives out there, like somebody else we know, you
Right.
know, you don't understand the repercussions that can have on everybody that hears it.
That's true. But I would
Now,
still continue to, you know, speak on safety, and that
absolutely,
doesn't stop anything because it can happen for real, and it
okay.
has happened.
Tracy Shorter just gave me the name. Her name was Miss Live 3D TV. It's right here on the screen. This is the name of the person that put that lie out on TikTok. Miss
Live
Live
3D.
3D. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Auntie, let you go on and finish your show.
All
You
right.
have a great show tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate it. Thank you. And
All right,
Tracy,
I'm getting
okay.
down.
Okay. Tracy, thank you so much for giving me that name because I totally forgot it off the top of my head. But yeah, go look her up on TikTok. Tell her, why would you do such a thing? That was an awful thing to do. Look what you could have done to somebody. You could have accidentally caused somebody else to lose their life because you trying to get a TikTok check. Come on now. It doesn't make sense. Tropical Life says that truck driver story resulted in me researching sundown towns. I'm adventuresome, especially since I love exploring small towns, usually by myself. That story had me furious, and it should. It should have. You know, unfortunately, it was not a true story, but it's not an impossible story. It's definitely a story that is going on out there. It just, that wasn't the one. But similar stories have definitely happened. I mean, there are a lot of black truck drivers that are missing or gone. And there's something behind it, something definitely nefarious behind it. We can't forget about that young man, that 21-year-old truck driver that just got his license. He went into Walmart I guess he dropped off a load at Walmart, and he went in the store to buy some rope. They found that man tied. He was sitting up against a tree, propped up against a tree. Eric Darnell. Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Eric Darnell was the last story that this person put that lie out about. Eric Darnell is alive and well. Just thought I'd let y'all know. But she made the whole thing up. The whole thing up. And I'm telling you, Stone was ticked. Sick world. And we deal with it on so many different levels every single day. We dealing with another nutcase right now. And she doesn't understand what her mouth could get other people into, if not herself. So, someone came into the chat earlier. I think it was Whiskey. Was it Whiskey? Whiskey, are you still here, sweetheart? Let me see if Whiskey's still in the house. Because Whiskey wanted an update. I don't see Whiskey in the house. But for those... Hi, Pamela. I didn't see you earlier. Let's see. Oh, y'all got me hungry now. Butter baked beans. I can't look in the chat right now. That's the part where all the food is. But just to recap on that previous segment about the maggot. I put out the phone number to the Laval Police Department in Canada. And I'm encouraging each and every one of you who didn't hear this earlier to please take down this telephone number. Call them. Raise hell about this woman's behavior. Yes, RC. Yeah, you got that part. That orangutan. But the number is, for those of you who didn't catch it earlier, okay, you're going to call tomorrow, RC 117, please do, because you have been victimized. So you have you especially have every right to call. You know, the number is area code 450-662-3400. That's 450-662-3400. Select option number 2. Okay. Now, they speak French when they pick up the phone, but they speak English as well. Okay. And just report. We've got to do this as a family. We can't do this a couple people here, a couple people there. We need to band together as a family. And everybody in this chat, we're family. And we have other family on other platforms. Lady Letitia is our family. Her chat is our family. Danny Robertson, that's our family. There's all kind of family out here that we really need to report this woman. Let them know what kind of a problem they've got up there in Canada. They don't want this smoke. They don't want this American smoke. RC says, I called Intellius today and they were helpful. And I told them that Dirty Owl is not a U.S. citizen. I made sure he wrote down her name 3 times to make sure it was spelled. That's right, RC. You did the right thing. You did the absolute right thing. And so did I. And that's all I'm going to tell about that. But just in case you're watching Maggie, boom. Old folk ain't so stupid after all. But let me tell you something. You playing with fire. You playing with your own freedom and you don't even understand. So you can tell me to go F myself if you want to. I'm not the one that needs to do that. I don't have to do that. I got a whole man in the other room. But you have fun with your batteries, okay? Anyway. Call, report. If you've seen something, say something. Y'all have seen it. Y'all have seen it. Oh, they ain't gonna hang up on you, baby girl. Trust and believe. But please, it doesn't cost a thing. Just pick up the phone, talk to these people and let them know, yes, the batteries, AA, C, D, whatever they got. Hey, 8 with, how you doing, 8 with the 24? Okay, little side note, y'all. Urban Media has put her channel in the chat. Please go check out her channel and sub to her so she can start going live. She needs more subs. If you guys don't mind, as a favor to me, as a favor to her, please let's support our sister here and get her able to go live, okay? I would so much appreciate it. Yes, RC, enough is enough. Playtime is over. It's time for her to put on her big panties and be a big girl and take it where she got to take it. Mr. Phillips says, hey, Auntie, did you hear about a white racist woman who tried to attack black kids? And no, I didn't hear about that. Lord have mercy. People done lost their ever-loving mind. Wow. Absolutely, Jay Breezy. I agree. She doesn't deserve a platform. And there's always more than one way to skin an owl. I don't have no shame to my game. She can talk all the mess she wants about me. But the point blank period is this. Your time is winding up, boo-boo. It's winding up. I hear you, RC. It just doesn't make sense. You playing games. And you going ahead and call my family if you want to. You going to get an earful. You going to hear some words you ain't never heard before. I'm telling you the truth. They play the dozens. Maybe you don't know what the dozens are. I done given you a little piece of dozens here. But until you've had to deal with some true African American people, best be cool. You up in Canada. We down here in America. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. So, with all that said, I done said enough. No freedom for dirty kitchens. You crazy. I know, poor baby dog. He's a cute little dog, though. He's cute. I feel bad for the puppy. Okay, she does. She does think she's funny, but she's not. It's old now. It's old and rotten and decrepit. I mean, you can only get so much of this. All that is old. And her subscribers, they keep following her. They gonna find themselves in that same boat. Honest to God. You follow a fool, you end up being a fool. So, I'm just saying what I'm saying. That's right. Closet, lock the door. Lock the door, throw away the key. So, with all that said, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and end this live. I love y'all. I thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate you. And I'll be back tomorrow. I'm trying to come on earlier because I know that a lot of people are, it's 3 hours later over on the East Coast. And I don't like keeping people up all night. So with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down. I will see y'all soon. I love you. God bless you. And I'll see you later. Peace.
Hey, Mickey. So fine, you're on my mind. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. So fine,
let the